is shorter than we think. We get stuck in our routine, living out the day to day. We weren't made for standing still, but for climbing up that hill, getting better on the way. What direction are we gonna take? So many decisions we gotta make to get us where we're going. It's part of life, it's full of choices. It's one way or the other that makes us who we are. It's up to you which way you go. The only thing we really know is nothing ever stays the same. You're gonna change. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. You're gonna change. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. It's up to you which way you go. The only thing we really know never stays. Na 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 na. You're gonna change. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. You're gonna change.
Hello, welcome to FHE with Chelsea, a place where we cherish, watch over, comfort one another, and gain instruction that we may all sit down in heaven together. Thank you for joining. That's a quick music credit to the 2018 Mutual album, Change. And I have a lot of thank yous to give today, which is always really exciting. So I want to thank Jody Jensen for following. Where am I from, Diane? I am originally from Morgan, Utah, but I just spent the last few years in Kentucky. And we thank thee, O God, for a prophet, followed by a prayer.
Pleasure to serve thee and love to obey. difficult ones. They're hard.
Okay, so this address is from President Nelson, Let God Prevail. So we are going to listen. What does Let God Prevail mean to you? And we'll listen to this part of his address.
My dear brothers and sisters, how grateful I am for the marvelous messages of this conference, and for my privilege to speak with you now. For the more than 36 years I've been an apostle, the doctrine of the gathering of Israel has captured my attention. Everything about it has intrigued me, including the ministries and names of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, their lives and their wives, the covenant God made with them and extended through their lineage, the dispersion of the 12 tribes, and the numerous prophecies about the gathering in our day. I have studied the gathering, prayed about it, feasted upon every related scripture, and asked the Lord to increase my understanding. So imagine my delight when I was led recently to a new insight. With the help of 2 Hebrew scholars, I learned that one of the Hebraic meanings of the word is refers to a person who is willing to let God prevail in his or her life. That concept stirs my soul. The word willing is crucial to this interpretation of Israel. We all have our agency. We can choose to be of Israel or not. We can choose to let God prevail in our lives or not. We can choose to let God be the most powerful influence in our lives or not. For a moment, let us recall a crucial turning point in the life of Jacob, the grandson of Abraham. At the place Jacob named Peniel, which means the face of God, Jacob wrestled with a serious challenge. His agency was tested. Through this wrestle, Jacob proved what was most important to him. He demonstrated that he was willing to let God prevail in his life. In response, God changed Jacob's name to Israel, meaning, let God prevail. God then promised Israel that all the blessings that had been pronounced upon Abraham's head would also be his. Sadly, Israel's posterity broke their covenants with God. They stoned the prophets and were not willing to let God prevail in their lives. Subsequently, God scattered them to the 4 corners of the earth. Mercifully, he later promised to gather them, as reported by Isaiah. For a small moment have I forsaken thee, Israel, but with great mercies will I gather thee. With the Hebraic definition of are willing to let God prevail, God be the most important, as an essential prelude to the second coming of the Lord, it is the most important work in the world. This premillennial gathering is an individual saga of expanding faith and spiritual courage for millions of people. And as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or Latter-day Covenant Israel, we have been charged to assist the Lord with this pivotal work. When we speak of gathering Israel on both sides of the veil, we are referring, of course, to missionary, temple, and family history work. We are also referring to building faith and testimony in the hearts of those with whom we live, work, and serve. Anytime we do anything that helps anyone on either side of the veil to make and keep their covenants with God, we are helping to gather Israel. Not long ago, the wife of one of our grandsons was struggling spiritually. I will call her Jill. Despite fasting, prayer, and priesthood blessings, Jill's father was dying. She was gripped with fear that she would lose both her dad and her testimony. Late one evening, my wife, Sister Wendy Nelson, told me of Jill's situation. The next morning, Wendy felt impressed to share with Jill that my response to her spiritual wrestle was one word. The word was myopic. Jill later admitted to Wendy that initially she was devastated by my response. She said, "I was hoping for Grandfather to promise me a miracle for my dad. I kept wondering why the word myopic was the one he felt compelled to say." After Jill's father passed on, the word myopic kept coming to her mind. She opened her heart to understand even more deeply that myopic meant nearsighted. And her thinking began to shift. Jill then said, quote, "Myopic caused me to stop, think, and heal. That word now fills me with peace. It reminds me to expand my perspective and seek the eternal. It reminds me that there is a divine plan and that my dad still lives and loves and looks out for me. Myopic has led me to God." Close quote. I'm very proud of our precious granddaughter-in-law. During this heart-wrenching time in her life, dear Jill is learning to embrace God's will for her dad with an eternal perspective for her own life. By choosing to let God prevail, she is finding peace.
So we have some really, really awesome comments that I want to read. That this was so insightful. Okay, and I've been trying to have Jenna help me with this, and we're almost ready. Okay, so okay, we're gonna start with what prevail means, which is a verb, prove more powerful than opposing forces, be victorious, which I think is really, really awesome. And then Diane said, "It means to me to let him help me in my life with the things I need help with. I can go to him in prayer," which is awesome. I love that. And then Adam said, "I'd compare let God prevail to the concept of endure to the end. We must let our testimonies guide our lives and not the other way around. God is central and we must endure with that spirit. He will prevail in our lives when we let him." Very, very good. And then from Janice, myopic. I love this response. God will always prevail and I can be a part of his work if I want. Yes. So President Nelson, he's just so awesome. And I do think one of the coolest things that he starts with is that he learns something new. I mean, the guy's like 96, right? And he's still trying to learn more about the gospel, which I just think is really, really awesome. Okay, so for our activity, Jenna has helped me cut out these glasses. You want to wear them? Okay. So, so how well can you see through that, Jenna?
I think good.
Good. Maybe fair, huh? It's really hard to do it on there. This way. Okay, what do you think? Pretty good? Okay, but really quick from Adam. A thought I just had was most every problem in our lives can be defined with myopic. God's plan is eternal and immense. Our narrow view is so small in comparison. Essentially, we have some major horse blinders on. Yes. So this is why I thought this activity would be kind of fun to do. So what you're supposed to do, which we didn't quite get ready in time, was you're supposed to get like saran wrap and see how well you can see through that. How well can you see?
I do well.
Yeah, you can see fair, okay, right? But not great. And then you're also supposed to do it with wax paper, which this is actually really pretty fun. This is a very old wax paper from my grandparents' house. Okay, Jenna, let's put this up through your glasses and see how well you can see. We'll just do the one. We almost got them ready, but not quite. How well can you see through that side?
Not good.
Not good at all, huh? So to me, this is like going through life with our perspective, right, flawed, which Adam brought up too with the myopic is where is your eternal perspective? Which I feel like we talk about perspective a lot on this stream, but it really is just very critical, I think, in listening to the voice of the Lord. So this is just kind of a cute little activity, which in the description, I have like the link to it to be able to do, and you can decorate these and such. We just didn't quite get to it tonight since we were kind of trying to troubleshoot a few things, huh? Do you want to wear these? Does mommy look silly? Yeah. Anyway, so I think that that's just pretty cool, like a new view on what Israel means and what it means to let God prevail. Jenna, that's gross. Just swallow it. Ugh. Okay, so I just am very, very grateful for all these comments. That was really, really awesome. So, and I thought it was cool how he brought up his granddaughter too and his answer about myopic and how those all tie in together. And I thought it was neat that at the end of his address, and I definitely agree, I definitely encourage everyone to read his amazing promises at the end about our generations being blessed by the Lord as we let him prevail in our lives. It's really, really cool. So our hymn for tonight is For I Am Called by Thy Name. Shh, please. Hey, Jessica. Hey, congrats, by the way, on your announcement of your new little one. That was exciting. And, okay, so this hymn is actually not in the hymn book, which I think is always fun when the Tabernacle Choir does this. But again, it was a previous recording since it's all virtual and all that. So this is For I'm Called by Thy Name. We'll have a prayer screen and then we'll wrap up.
Rejoice.
I just want to thank everyone so much for coming and participating at FHE with Chelsea. I always have to give a quick thank you to Helam, a Strictly Warrior Quest, that I'm able to stream to Facebook. And a big thank you to my mother who is watching my other daughter so I can do this at the earlier time and keep it 9 o'clock Eastern. And next week we are going to study the talk by President Eyring, which is tested, proved, and polished. So that's going to be a really, really great address. And we are on the last session of conference. Can you believe that? It's really exciting. So please subscribe and continue to share. And I will show you Jenna's work on these. We got our one side has the clear and the other side has that. We'll put them on. Pretty styling. Awesome. Okay, so thank you so much again, and we will see you next week. In the meantime, let us all press on, and remember this. Can you say, kindness begins with me? Say it loud. Kindness.
Kindness
begins with me.
me.
See you next time.
Bye!
Life is full of twists and turns, ups and downs, and we can't make it out alone.
Yes, we will stumble once or twice, or half a billion times, and that's just how it goes.
But even though we make mistakes, it's so good to know, no matter how big, no matter how small, no matter how far down we seem to fall. Whoa, he overcame it all, no matter how big or small. You feel you've lost your way or falling on your face, don't ever forget.
He will always pick you up, no matter what you've done, if you just run to him.
But even if it seems you can't, you can start again, no matter how big, no matter how small, no matter how far down we seem to fall. Whoa, he overcame it all,